Welcome to the Darko Files, where we delve into the most mind-bending questions of our time. Today, we're exploring a theory that might shake your perception of reality itself: simulation theory. What if everything we see, feel, and experience is just part of a sophisticated simulation? Simulation theory posits that our reality, or at least what we perceive to be reality, could be an artificial simulation, much like a highly advanced video game. Think about it. With the rapid development of technology, especially in artificial intelligence and virtual reality, it's plausible to consider that a future civilization could create a simulation indistinguishable from true reality. Prominent figures like Elon Musk and Sam Altman have voiced their belief in this theory. Musk famously stated during his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience that if you assume any rate of improvement at all, games will eventually be indistinguishable from reality, ultimately concluding that there's a 1 in billions chance that this is not a simulation. The implication? The universe might just be a highly sophisticated simulation. So, why do some people believe we might be living in a simulation? Here are a few thought-provoking examples. The nature of reality. Quantum mechanics tells us that particles can exist in multiple states until they are observed. Some theorists suggest this aligns with the idea of a simulation. Reality only manifests when we interact with it. The observer effect in quantum mechanics refers to the phenomenon where the act of observing a quantum system influences its behavior. A classic example is the double-slit experiment, where particles like electrons behave as both waves and particles depending on whether they are being observed. When unobserved, they create an interference pattern, suggesting they exist in a superposition of states. However, the moment an observer measures or interacts with them, they collapse into a definite state. This intriguing behavior has led some theorists to draw parallels between quantum mechanics and simulation theory. If our reality were a simulation, the observer effect might imply that the universe behaves as if it is a digital construct, where data points, particles, are rendered and exist in a particular state only when needed. In a virtual environment, the system can optimize resources by rendering objects only when they are being observed. Thus, the idea that observation is necessary for a particle's existence echoes how a simulation might function, suggesting that the underlying mechanics of our universe could be similar to those of a computer program. Furthermore, when we delve into the nature of matter at a quantum level, we find that subatomic particles exhibit properties reminiscent of coding. At its core, matter can be described using quantum states, which are governed by mathematical functions. This is similar to binary code in computer programming, where sequences of ones and zeros create complex structures. Quantum entanglement and the behavior of particles suggest a level of interconnectedness that feels as if it is designed or programmed, akin to how virtual worlds operate within a coded framework. The simulation argument. Philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed that if advanced civilizations could create countless simulations of their ancestors, it's statistically likely we are in one of those simulations rather than the original reality. The bizarre predictions of The Simpsons. Perhaps one of the most entertaining pieces of evidence comes from the animated series The Simpsons. This show has gained notoriety for seemingly predicting real-life events. The smartwatch. In a 1995 episode, Lisa uses a device strikingly similar to modern smartwatches. The Disney-Fox merger. In the episode The Birds and the Bees, there's a sign reading 20th Century Fox, years before the actual acquisition took place. Some fans speculate that the show's writers have access to future timelines, or that we are indeed living in a simulated reality where such events can be foretold. But before we dive headfirst into the rabbit hole, let's explore some compelling arguments against simulation theory. Lack of evidence. While the theory is intriguing, it remains speculative. There is no concrete evidence that suggests we are indeed living in a simulation. Re-evaluating simulation theory, referring to the observer effect as evidence for simulation theory, may not capture the full complexity of what we observe at the quantum level. The term implies an artificial construct created by an external entity, which might oversimplify the nature of reality. In fact, the mechanism behind the observer effect is more nuanced. When we observe particles, it's not merely the act of looking that causes them to behave differently. Rather, it is the energy emitted during the observation that interacts with the particles. This energy can disrupt their state, leading to their disappearance or alteration. This process points to the fundamental nature of energy and consciousness in shaping reality. Instead of viewing the universe strictly as a simulation, it may be more accurate to consider it as an intricate interplay of energy and observation, where reality is continuously influenced by the act of engagement rather than merely programmed. Thus, while simulation theory offers a fascinating lens through which to examine our existence, it may not encompass the deeper truths about the quantum fabric of our universe. The problem of infinite simulations. If we are in a simulation, then it raises the question of whether we are a simulation within a simulation. This infinite regress leads to complications in the idea of what constitutes base reality. Cognitive bias. Our brains are wired to find patterns, often leading us to perceive connections where none exist. The predictions from The Simpsons may simply be coincidental, reflective of broad cultural trends rather than actual foresight. Simulation theory raises profound questions about existence, reality, and our place in the universe. While the idea is captivating, it remains unproven and shrouded in mystery. Whether we are characters in a cosmic video game or living our authentic lives, the question may ultimately be less important than the experiences we create along the way. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more intriguing explorations into the unknown. And remember, reality is only as real as you choose to make it. Until next time, keep questioning.